Today we will be making quesadillas. I'm going to use two types of cheese. This cheese, which will act as the base and the main cheese in the quesadilla. And this cheese, which is mostly the same type of cheese, but it's more thicker in the shredded cut. That doesn't make any sense, but you know what I mean. Which will provide different texture throughout. We're going to begin by starting the heat on the pan so that when we assemble the quesadilla in the pan, the cheese will begin to melt, and so as to keep the tortilla not burnt but the cheese melted. So now we've got the heat going, I'm going to drop the quesadilla into the pan and then begin to spread the cheese. If I'm smart enough to figure out how to open this. I'm still able to spread it around with my hands a little bit since the pan hasn't heated up enough. So, this is the amount of cheese currently in the tortilla. And we will now continue to spread the thicker cheese more sparingly. Now, at this point, it's too hot to touch with my hands inside of the pan. Well, not really. Once the cheese begins to melt in earnest, then it will be too hot. Alright, that should be good. Now, we wait for the cheese to begin to melt. And at that point, we will begin checking the underside of the tortilla for burning. See now where the cheese is beginning to melt. I'm not sure how clearly you can see it. Obviously the melting starts at the bottom layer. The tortilla has not yet begun to burn yet, so to speak. If you make a second quesadilla in the same pan without turning off the heat, this goes much faster as the pan has already been heated. But for the first one, it does take a while. Cheese is beginning to melt. And our tortilla, our tortilla is beginning to brown, so I'm going to push the quesadilla, fold it, and push it down into itself. And continue to flip it so as to not burn one side, but so as to continue to cook the cheese. As heat rises, you have to be careful not to get your hands too close to the pan here because it can burn you, which is not very pleasant. So now that is our first quesadilla complete. We will now make a second one. This one you do sort of have to move more quickly. So we will be a little bit more liberal with the cheese. If you can hear that crackling sound, that's just the excess cheese melting on the pan itself. Now we can see that we can see already that the bottom layer of cheese is beginning to melt. The tortilla is not yet beginning to brown. While we wait, we'll just start the cleanup process. I mean, you do have to pay close attention to the second one because you want to make sure that you don't burn your tortilla. Ooh. The cheese is not fully melted yet, so we're gonna have to fold it now as the tortilla is beginning to brown. And then we will continue the cooking process now. The reason I didn't put any other ingredients in it, such as chicken, like you would normally do for a quesadilla, is well, we don't really have any meat in the house right now other than turkey, since we just had Thanksgiving. And turkey doesn't really lend itself well to being put into a quesadilla, especially after it's already been, well, cooked in the way that you would cook a turkey. So, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your point of view, this quesadilla only has cheese in it, which is more simple. The cheese inside, by now, has sufficiently melted. So we will take it off, turn off the heat, and now we will enjoy our delicious quesadillas.